Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I have Talia Coren here with me today for a very specific reason. All of you out there have been saying, Adam, you are too nice to these avoidant men. You are telling women to just bend over backwards, have no expectations, just cater to them forever. And that is not the case. But I'm bringing in an expert to show you exactly how to date intentionally, how to get your needs met, how to do all the things you're supposed to do, saying your expectations up front without being too mean, how to be kind and accommodating without being too nice, how to walk that healthy balance in your dating life so that you can find the partner who is right for you. So you don't have to cater to him endlessly forever, because that is never the goal here on this channel. Talia, thank you so much for coming here today. I am relieved to have you here, and my audience needs to hear from you. Can you tell them a little bit just about yourself? I know you have your podcast. Tell them a little bit about you first so they know who they're hearing from.
Yes. Well, I'm so happy to be here. You were amazing on my podcast when you came on to talk about avoidant attachment and all the ins and outs. So about me, I started my dating journey at 29 after a long relationship. And when I got out of that relationship, I realized I knew nothing about dating, and my mission was to learn as much as I could so that I could test everything out. And in my experimental phase, I decided to start my Instagram and my podcast so I can help other people treat dating more like an experiment so they can learn about themselves and enjoy the process. Because look, like Adam, you know this, we can't promise people partners, but we can promise people that they will be able to, we can promise to have more enjoyment and more security, more confidence in the process of finding that partner, right? So that's what I'm here to do.
I love that. Yeah, we can't
Yeah,
promise you will find a husband tomorrow at 4 p.m. He will
right.
fall out of the sky with a ring in his hand. But we can say, look, this is how you build the kind of life that attracts the right man, and speak to him in a way that he sees you and values you. And then you build an intimate relationship together, and then guard that relationship for the rest of your life.
Yes. And I want to say, in the spirit of, how to deal with avoidant men, how to talk to men, I just want to say my name is Talia, not Talia.
Ah,
Because
Talia,
you
thank you.
checked my last name, but yeah, no, my name is Talia. Just wanted to put it out there. See, I'm gently
See?
just telling you. I can be
100%.
nice with a
There's a
smile.
boundary right there. There's a
Right.
wonderful boundary. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Talia.
welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I will always remember. If I ever forget, whack me with a newspaper.
Oh my God.
Uh, Perfect. So, what is the number one biggest misconception that most women, let's just put a number on it. And ladies, I know your ages and everything are all over the place. That's totally fine. You're all welcome here. Today, let's focus a little bit down into that age group right now. I know that are really, how do we say, hurting in the dating market because they're looking to start a family. They're looking for a good family, marriage minded man. They're not sure those men still exist. They're trying to please. They're also trying to not get taken advantage of. Let's
Right.
say anywhere from 30 to 40, maybe 45, somewhere in that window, Talia.
Hmm.
30 to 45, that core window, mindful that everybody else is still here as well.
Yes.
What is the biggest misconception that women 30 to 45 who are dating, what is the biggest misconception we need to clear up for them right now that is holding them back?
I mean, you kind of said it, that there are no good men left, I think is a really
Uh-huh.
big
That's the
misconception.
biggest one.
I do think that. And also just that I don't know if this is a misconception, just more of like questioning the belief or idea that you should be married with a family or whatever it is by a certain age, because modern dating is just different than past decades of dating. And, you said on my podcast, not even date, it's like we need to be courting, not dating. And, I think that is, I wouldn't say it's a misconception, but it's just like, how can we adjust this to today? This idea that we need to be in this marriage and have a family or whatever it is you're looking for by deadline 35, or you're over the hill, you're done. Like, no, we are all like, no one, I really hate this idea that like people lose the like value in age, like that connection. I really don't like that. Like, I think of my mom who found the one after she married my dad and left him. Like, she found an amazing man in her late 40s and early 50s. Like my stepdad is incredible. So I want everyone to let go of this whole age thing.
So if she's not pregnant and barefoot by age 19, she's not useless. That's what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
understood.
exactly what I'm saying.
That's a good way to clear that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things. A lot of women come to me and they say, Adam, my coaching clients, they come and say, Adam, So I was watching this red pill creator and I say, oh God, okay, here we go. What did he say? And they say, well, he said that by the time you're 30, you might as well just be dead because nobody wants to look at you ever again. I was like, okay, well, tell me, was this man happily married? Does he have daughters? Does he have any women in his life besides the women he treats like disposable candy wrappers? Well, I don't know. Yeah, you're not supposed to know. He keeps all that secret, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Okay.
Who is that belief serving?
It
Literally
really
no one.
it's a bunch of red pill's a bunch of really anxious guys who got burned early on in the dating process. Now they're angry and they've learned to be avoidant instead and to look avoidant to try to prey on anxious women. That's what it
Got it.
is.
I don't really
It
engage
is
in red pill content, so I guess I'm
good.
not even.
You
Yeah,
shouldn't.
I'm like
Nobody
turn it
should.
off. Just yeah,
Yeah, nobody should. That's like, I don't really drink poison very often,
yeah.
but if I did, it would. No, it's 100% good idea. So they don't have to be married and pregnant right now. And if you're not married and pregnant right now, then that's okay. You are still a human being. You can still find love. I'd love to talk to you about this idea that there are still marriage-minded men
Mhm.
in the world who still want families. I would love to hear your take on this. They don't believe me when I say that the vast majority of the men coming to me for attachment, for help, for dating, all want to get married and have children and be with one woman. The women don't believe me ever. So could you please help them understand how is it possible that there are marriage-minded men when none of them out there seem to be visible?
So I think that there are kind of like two kinds of guys out there in terms of guys who are dating. We can ignore people who are not dating. There are people who really know they want to be married and have a family, and then there are people who like the idea of it, but they have challenges emotionally, mentally, in their past, whatever barriers that stop them from getting there, whether they are aware of it or not. So it's like there are, I think, people a lot like just want. There are so many reasons to want a partner, and in today's world, we have to acknowledge there are so many reasons why we don't need them. We can also we could survive but probably not thrive without partnership, you know? So I do think that there are a lot of people out there who want either love the idea of it but are not able to get there right now. And then there are just guys out there who are just like ready and, willing. Like I think of my when I met my husband, he was like, I finished my PhD, I got my dream job, now I'm ready to settle down. And I met him in that window. I think cab light theory is a thing. You know cab light theory?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that also it's like it is truly a timing thing. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for all guys, but I do think it's like when someone, a person, man or woman, whatever, is oriented around a goal, they're going to kind of stay open to those opportunities. So it's like, yeah, I think, and how do I know there are guys that exist? Because I went out with a lot of them, right? I mean, I this is anecdotal. It's a very small sample size, but I went out with over 60 men in a year, and most of them were looking for marriage. Now, I didn't get far enough into these interactions to know if they were being serious or if they had those barriers I mentioned earlier, but they said that's what they were looking for. So, like, and there are a lot of really nice guys I met when I wasn't ready, right? When I wasn't ready to take that step. So
Mm-hmm.
I know they're out there.
I know that they are too. The vast majority of them are flooding in trying to beg me to teach them how to date
Yeah,
a
my
loving woman
inbox too.
because so many men and men are on the other side of the fence. There's a fence. There's women on this side saying men don't want to get married or have families. On the other side of the fence is men saying, man, no women want to get married or have families anymore. And it's these two populations that believe the other side doesn't want it. And the part of the problem is dating. We've talked about this. Dating is new. It is
Mm.
stupid. It is pointless. I don't think it serves much purpose at all. And that's honestly the view of most marriage-minded men. They say, I don't want to learn dating. That's a skill set that I'll
Mm.
never use again. I don't want to have to try to hunt and find a woman to have sex with. I want to find a loving woman to be my wife. I don't want to have to become a master of seducing strange random women on the internet because I don't ever want to do that again. I want to find a woman to get married to. So most men who are marriage minded are incredibly bad at dating.
Yeah,
Absolutely atrocious.
I agree with that. I do think there is a skill gap here. Like, and I understand why people don't want to pay attention to the skill of dating because it's a temporary skill. If you get good at dating, you don't need to date anymore. That's kind of the win there, I guess. I,
Mhm.
in my journey, decided I wanted to get good at dating because I knew it would help me find the right partner. It would lead me to the right person, the right choice. Because in the past, I had made the wrong choice. I was with someone for 6 years that I thought was the one, but realized was absolutely so wrong for me in so many ways, despite him being a good person, right? Like wasn't that he was a bad person, just not right for me. So I think there are many virtues in getting good at dating, even though you don't need it anymore after a while.
Good at secure, honest, transparent dating.
Yeah, yeah.
Courting for marriage, basically, yes, 100%. The skills
Right.
do translate into a
I
proper
think when I
marriage.
say dating, I think I mean your version of courting
I
because
think you do too.
yeah, like I would say for in my journey, like when I got out of my relationship, I was dating just in the silly version that you would say. I was learning, experimenting, getting good at this social skill, understanding how to talk to people and navigate this and also set boundaries and speak up for myself and just speak my mind and not be afraid of the outcome. I was building that. So by the time my husband came into my life, I was ready. I was primed. I was like, okay, I know how to do this. I
I
know
respect
a
that.
good one when I see it.
I respect that. I would love to ask you two questions, and they're going to
Yeah,
be a little personal and maybe slightly uncomfortable. And one is
that's fine.
slightly crass, if that's okay.
That's okay.
But I'm going to ask you very specifically, and I swear it's for a purpose because I have female
I
clients
trust
come
you.
in. I'm glad. Thank you. Building secure attachment right
Yeah.
there. There you go. I have a lot of female clients come in and they say, Adam, I feel like I have to compete with the girls in porn. I have to compete with the
Mm.
girls in the apps. I have to compete with the girls at the clubs. I need to offer sex very, very quickly to get his attention. Now, you told me something interesting. You said that you dated 60 guys in the space of 1 year. And a lot of our audience hears that and goes, yeah, that's, you got to run through the numbers like that. But the men in the audience, and guys, I know you're listening to this, the men in the audience probably instantly went, oh, how many of those men did she sleep with? So
Yep.
if I could ask you, Talia,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you did not sleep with all of those 60 men in that
No.
first year while you were dating. I knew it. I knew it. Um, for the women out there who feel pressured into performing sexually very early in a relationship, for the women, not even a relationship, but getting to know somebody, for the women who feel like they must be competing with the girls on the internet and the girls at the club and the girls in his phone and offer sex very quickly, like first, second date, what advice do you have for those women if they are trying to get married?
Yeah, I mean, if why do you want a man whose only goal is to get laid on the second date if that's it? So it's like, okay, who are you competing with? Just that like I did not think about that. And I realize I'm a conventionally attractive person. Like I have thin privilege, I have white privilege. Like there are a lot of things I was born into that I just have that make dating easier for me and I definitely want to acknowledge this. But I don't think about the competition. It makes me think of business. It's like if I'm paying attention to all my competitors, I'm not doing the work. I'm just paying attention to what they're doing and not doing anything. So I would say try your best to shut down those thoughts. But you can be aware of these thoughts when you're thinking about like, oh, is he talking? Are other women in his DMs? Or focus on if you like him and how he is treating you. That is your main focus. Not who else is he talking to? What is he doing? No, how is he treating you and do you like it? That's it. For me, did I sleep with people in this journey? Absolutely, when I wanted to. And I learned that I needed to wait a little longer because I learned that I just kind of detach after sex, which is not what most women experience. I would have it too early and I would not be interested anymore. Basically, I needed the emotional connection to like for it to stick, So that was why I chose to wait. I would say I wait my rule. It's not a number of dates. It was like wait until you know you want to be in a relationship with them, which takes more than 3 dates. So it's that could be 5 dates, it could be 10. It's just like wait till you have other things present, the emotional intellectual connection first.
That's been I love this. That's the message on this channel as well. Is when you start having sex, the hormones make you drunk and crazy, and then you stop compatibility testing, and you are going to be really eager to please, or you're going to overlook red flags you shouldn't overlook. You're
Yeah.
going to commit where you shouldn't commit, and you're going to make some mistakes. So hold off until you are absolutely clear this is the right person for you. You've had the hard conversations, they have
Mhm.
committed with you, you're in something secure and loving, and you really know and trust this person. This is the
Yeah.
time to start making those deeper moves in a relationship.
And for the women who are scared of I know I deal with this, women who are scared that the guy is just in it for sex, like they're waiting for that shoe to drop. They're waiting for the guy to bounce because it's not happening soon enough, or they're worried if it happens too soon, they're going to only be seen as just a hookup. So it's like, where is that line? I think, again, the person who is marriage minded will, of course, want to talk about sex and want to explore that because it's important, but that's not going to be their main priority. They are going to try to get to know you if they're
100%.
marriage minded. Like they're going to want to spend time with you outside the bedroom. They're going to want to like go on dates and go do fun activities and like maybe meet your friends. while also exploring a sexual relationship. It can happen at the same time.
You need to, and here's where it gets real. Here's where it gets real is if you're wanting marriage and kids, then you need to be aware that an overwhelming number of affairs happen after the birth of your first child together. When again the woman is physically out of action for at least minimum 6 weeks, otherwise you can have uterine problems and all kinds of horrible medical challenges. So minimum of 6 weeks out of commission, probably longer than that during the
Yeah, I
postpartum
was gonna say
process,
six
because
weeks. That
most
sounds like
women
a
are not
really
like, all
short
right, come on,
window.
6 weeks, let's do
Yeah.
it. Most women are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They're like, I need to kind of breathe. My tailbone has been broken in 57
Oh
places.
my god.
It's like, yeah, all kinds of. It's a gentle process of easing back in, and also you're going to be focused on the child and really caring for your child. Both of you should be. There is going to be a long period where his sexual needs are not likely to get met with the consistency he's used
Mhm.
to in the early loving intimate relationship process. So it's going to be a gap where you need to know that this man is capable of holding off for a period of time without throwing a tantrum, without stomping off, without finding someone else. Do that test at the beginning. Will he wait? Does
Yeah.
he also want a committed relationship? Is he pausing on the hormones so that he can really compatibility test with you to set up for a proper relationship? Or is he like, come on, I could be somewhere right now having sex. Come on, we've been
Yeah.
10 minutes into our first date and we haven't done anything. Like,
Oof.
no,
It's not
don't
the
date
right.
that man.
No.
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 Date the man who's going to be there for you when your body is like, buddy, pause, breathe. Let's enjoy each other emotionally and let's take care of our family. The sex will come back. Connect with that man and get ready for that man. That's my
Yeah.
advice for ladies out there who want a family. You agree? Looks
Oh
like.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's what I learned in my journey in terms of choosing that man is that dating outside my type really worked for me, and it does work for a lot of people who listen to my podcast and follow my page. I don't know if you hear the same thing, but I think that that's what helped me the most, honestly, is just really branching out and going outside of who I was normally attracted to. That does not mean date people you think are ugly. There is a spectrum. There's a spectrum of attraction. Like you can think of like I like to think of it when you walk around in the world. Like if you go to the supermarket, if you're like walking around, most people are average looking. I know people hate hearing this. Most people are average. Okay, like most of us aren't going to end up with like Brad Pitt, and I hope not because he's kind of a dick. But like but you know what I mean, like that movie star level attraction, like attractiveness. So I think when I reoriented what I was looking for, like from away from looks and more towards, do I like being around them? Just that simple question alone, I found much higher quality men.
It sounds like you made a really smart shift from dating for feelings, dating for and dopamine or how they make you feel, to dating toward a goal is what it
Yeah.
sounds like you really did. What was it that helped you make that shift? What was the mental process? Because a lot of women in the audience right now are listening to this going, dating for a goal. Okay, that sounds cool. And your podcast is dating intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Um, what helped you make that shift? What was the click for you?
So I think one thing, and this might be surprising, is like I really learned to love my life single. And I realized that what I needed in a partner wasn't necessarily about the romance and the all the like dopamine. It wasn't like I wasn't looking to be swept off my feet because I could create those experiences for myself without a guy. Like I just, I really loved my single life. I was very happy and I was ready to be single for a long time. I made a plan. I was like, "Okay, if I don't meet a guy in like 10 years, this is what my life is going to look like. Here's where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to work. These are the hobbies I'm going to have." And just having that security in myself helped me just choose someone like, who can I add to my life that will like just make it better and more fun and bring out a side of me that I really like. So I ended up with someone who is very calm, very level-headed, very stable. I'm an entrepreneur. My income and my business is all up and down, all over the place, and he works for the government. Like he is the most stable, in terms of what he does. And so I think that's what I did to help make that shift. Also just realizing like I'm not looking for someone to bring me happiness. It kind of relates to that. Like I think I was just looking for someone to build a life with. They weren't responsible for my happiness.
You weren't looking for somebody to complete you. You were looking for
No.
somebody to build a life with.
No, and look, trust me, we have romance, okay? Like there is romance in my relationship, and all these special moments, but that's not the point for me.
I love this. What is the point of your marriage? Tell me that.
Oh,
Articulate that for
love
me.
this question. I think the point of my marriage is like truly, and I'm sure people can relate to this, like someone to weather life with, like someone to be like, okay, life is tough. There's ups and downs. Who do I want by my side when there are downs, and especially the downs, right? Because the ups are easy. It's like when things are good, it's pretty good with anyone, but especially the hard stuff. Who do I want there with me? Who is going to, keep me laughing? And my husband's hilarious. By the way, people listening on his profile, when I saw his profile, not a shred of humor in there. Like didn't, but then when I talked to him, it was like, "Oh, you're funny." So that's why again, another reason to have an open mind, especially on dating apps if you're using them, especially when you first interact with someone, they're probably not going to show you their full personality. So yeah, I'm glad I gave it a shot.
What clue told you that you should give him a shot? If he didn't have humor on his dating profile, he was a little different from your usual type. What was the clue that, okay, I should at least give this guy a shot?
All right, so you're going to think I'm shallow maybe, but his education. He has a PhD, and that was something I really looked for.
Interesting. What about
Yeah.
that? Because a lot of women report intelligence or stability. There's a number of things there. What was it?
So having a PhD, I mean, he says it's easy to do, but no, it's not. He was in school for 11 years. That's commitment. That's a sign of commitment. He can commit to something. He can finish something. He has a plan. He has a vision. That is very attractive. So I think that was a clue. Like, okay, guy with the PhD, that doesn't happen on accident. Like, that takes work. So I like that.
I have heard, I have a good friend who's got a beard down to here, and he says women love beards because it's a sign that you can put up with something for a very long time and not shave it off or not get rid
my,
of it.
my husband has a beard. I didn't like guys with beards, Adam. And he has long hair. It's almost as long as mine, and that was not my type at all.
Now, have you tried to change him over the years into
No.
your type, or are you embracing the man that
Okay,
he is?
how long have you been married?
16 years.
Okay, so
Wedding anniversary is
you
coming up.
can't change. You have to go in with acceptance. Like I'm
Well,
not.
a lot of women go in trying to change. They go in with a hammer and chisel hidden behind their back, and while you're sleeping, they try to chisel pieces off of you.
No,
They tell you something's not right.
no, I learned that you have to go in accepting someone. I think this is something people with anxious attachment really struggle with is that full acceptance. Like these are I know his limits emotionally, right? He has limits and I'm not trying to change that. I'm working with that. I'm making it enough for me and no, I'm not settling because he adds a ton of value to my life and we have an emotional connection. Could it be deeper? Yes, but he has given me what he can give me and I accept that. In terms of how he looks, I've maybe made some adjustments to his wardrobe. That's it.
I
Okay?
understand
You're
that.
getting
I
getting rid of
understand
the
that.
10-year-old Gap shirts. It's fine. You can update them. Like it's fine. It's okay.
A lot of women, yeah, a lot of women, they dress their man a little better than he was before, and that's the change. That's the
That's great.
change. I love that. What characteristics do you value most in your husband as a man that makes him husband material?
He is easygoing. He is not demanding. In that like I think we're both a little conflict avoidant. And we both are like very go with the flow. So he kind of just wants to do whatever I want to do. And I make sure to give him space to be like, hey, like, is this fun for you too? Like, do you want to do this too? And he'll like say no if it's not. Like, he's not gonna go to the gym with me ever. That's okay. He like he doesn't want to go to yoga with me. Fine. I have girlfriends for that. So like I think yeah, but he is very easygoing. Also, just he's so thoughtful and considerate. I think that was something that came up really early in the dating phase. He I remember we on one of our early dates, we were walking in a park and I pointed to like a playhouse. I'm like, oh, I want to go see a play there. And he bought tickets on the spot. Like we didn't know what the play was. I just like, I want to do this. And he just was like, yeah, let's go. And I love that yes anding quality of his. I mean, I can go on and on, honestly.
So he wasn't rigid. He wasn't locked in on what
No.
he wanted. He didn't make demands about how you had to be. It sounds like he accepted you as just as
Yes.
much as
And
you
yes,
accepted him.
early in our dating, like I had a lot of boundaries. Okay. Like then that's something that more anxiously attached women need to have is the boundaries. So like on our fourth date, he picked a restaurant next to his apartment. And I was like, hey, by the way, like before that, I was like, I'm not gonna go home with you after this date. I'm not ready for that. And I felt the need to say that was a little presumptuous of me. But like we had been flirting a lot and like we weren't sexting, but it was like very flirty. And I kind of had to like be like, okay, like we're flirty, but like here's the line, man. And he was like, hey, I'm just glad happy I get to see you tonight. And that was such a respectful response. Like, and I felt even, and there were times where he invited me out and I was like, actually, I'm really tired tonight. I can't tonight. And he was like, okay. And he still kept going though. That didn't like, I think for some men that would be, any no would be, okay, I'm running for the hills now. But he was confident. He was like, okay, like, cool. And he just asked me out again,
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. Did you guys have any conflict when you were beginning to date? Did you have to have any tough talks, any
Yeah.
tension, any stuff like that? How did that go? How did he carry himself through those and show you that he was the right
Oh
man?
my God. Well, I remember the first time I really had to bring something up that really bothered me. It was a phrase and comment he kept saying that really turned me off. It gave me the ick. It was 4 months into our relationship, and I'm like, why does he keep saying this? It's so weird. It's so out of character. So I asked him, I was like, hey, when you say this, I feel kind of uncomfortable with this because I really don't resonate with that at all. And I want to understand what it really means for you. So I asked him, like, what does this mean when you say this? And let's go a little deeper. And he explained what he meant, and that helped me a lot. And then he stopped saying it, which I
Hmm.
didn't ask him to do. He just did that.
Interesting. Interesting. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
So like just again,
Was
it's like that you have to be comfortable taking the risk. I was ready to end the relationship based on his response 4 months in, right? So it's kind of
interesting.
early.
Now
Like
here's what's interesting. You weren't ready to end the relationship over the phrase, but over his response, how
over
he
his
as a man
reaction.
responded to your concern. That's a key piece right there. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, because if he was defensive, not gonna work for me. If he was just listening, asking me questions and kind of like, oh, I'll think about that, that's good enough. But what he did was he really just gave me a thoughtful explanation. And then on his own, he stopped saying that phrase. And,
Mm,
I walked away with a deeper understanding of his worldview,
mm.
and that helped me a lot.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm flashing back. My wedding anniversary with my wife is about 2 weeks from now.
Oh,
We got
nice.
16 years. We got 5
Wow.
kids. So we've been through the battles and the good stuff and the wonderful stuff. But I never forget in the first month of us dating, I smoke a pack a day back then. Cigarettes. I don't smoke at all now because of this. And she said about a month into the relationship, she said, you've talked to me about how you want to have kids and a family. And I said, yeah. She said, well, right now you smoke a pack a day, and that's really unhealthy. And I had someone in my family pass away from lung cancer. So talk to me about where your goals align with what you're doing right now. What do you see this being a good thing that you're going to continue doing? And do you think that's going to help you reach what you want? And I went, hmm, yeah, probably not. I think you're right. So, and I cold turkey at that point. It was hell, but cold turkey said, "Yeah, you're right. This is opposed to my goals that I want." It wasn't her
Right.
stomping her foot, like, "Hey, if you want to date me, you better not smell." No, it wasn't like that. It was like, "Hey, you said you want this. Do you actually want that thing?" And it was because
Yeah.
I was able to do like he did, just say, "You know what? No, that's fair point. Let's put this. I'll be done with this. Let's put it aside." That earned
Right.
a lot of trust from her.
But in order to get there with someone you're dating, you do have to be, again, like I said, willing to open that conversation, which can be terrifying if you have anxious attachment. Like if you are anxious, it's because you go through all the ways that conversation can go in your head before you have it. And I know I do that. I used to do that. I still do that with certain people in my life, not my husband, but like, just like, oh God, if I say something, it's gonna go. This is how this is gonna escalate and be a big scary conversation. So I'm happy that I took that risk of like, hey, this is bugging me. And in my mind, I'm like, if this doesn't go well, I'm gonna walk. Yeah.
I like that. No, that's spot on. That's how it needs to be. That's you said something very interesting in there that I want to dig into. You
Mhm.
said a lot of interesting things. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But I'd love to dig into this concept of it's so hard for women and especially anxious women to figure out how to dig in and bring up those red flags and bring up those concerns. I think that for men, we value a woman who's able to bring up those red flags because that's a woman who's not going to sit there seething and miserable for 6 years and then blow up at you about it. It's a woman who is going to push back on other people, so she'll have boundaries with other people outside the relationship. You want that. And it's a woman who makes your life very, very easy because she tells you exactly what she's thinking. You don't have to run around guessing all the time. So personally, I love it when women tell me and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, no, my name is is Talia, not Talia. Thank you. I love that at the beginning. Super easy. When a
Yeah.
woman does that, it's a great thing. It's wonderful. But a lot of women are terrified to do that. What do you tell women when they are petrified that having that conversation will make every man walk away from them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay if they do because for a long-term marriage to work, you need someone who's willing to hear feedback. But the other side of it is, and you talk about this a lot, is how you give that feedback. Like if you're passive aggressive, if you are hinting at things, no, you need to just kind of it's being direct is I say directness is kindness, and it does take practice. So again, it's like your part in this is delivering this information in a way that is not attacking, not passive aggressive, not blaming or like all these like pointing fingers. You have to practice how to do like when that you I feel this when this happens. I would like to feel this. What do you want? So that's the first thing. And then yeah, obviously if they react defensively, if they blow up, if they turn it on you, if you walk away from that conversation feeling like you need to apologize, that's a wrong person. You don't want to be married to that person. No, like they're not mature enough.
I love that. Use the conversation itself as a filter, as a
It's a data
compatibility
point.
test. It's a data point. A lot of women are not looking at data points. They
No.
find a man and they say, I'd better just make it work because he pities me enough to accept me and adopt me like a puppy at the pound, and no one else will, and I'm not good enough. Maybe they go back to the red pill thing. Maybe they go back to, I didn't get barefoot and pregnant at 19. Now I'm old news. No one will love me. Maybe they're anxiously attached. But a lot of women, they don't understand the value, the tremendous, wonderful, loving value they bring as a full partner into a
Yes.
relationship. Most women are coming in like please adopt me, or they go the opposite direction and say, I have all the value, you offer me nothing, dance for my amusement. And that's the false dichotomy. I either have
Yeah.
to be a doormat or a complete jerk in my relationships.
It's
And that's
yeah. You know you're ready to find the one when you're ready for it to be a two-way street, focusing on what you both bring to the table. It's going to be different. You're not going to bring the exact same things to the table, and it's honestly a good thing in a relationship that's going to work out long term. Like you don't need to be one to one. And I think that I want to see more women be more authentic and bring things up sooner because especially if you're dating in your late 30s, you need to get to the no faster. You don't want to stay stuck in something for 3 months, have your first conflict, then realize that they're a big defensive a-hole. I don't know, or something, or like they're just not able to work through conflict, or maybe they stonewall or something. Yeah.
I love this. Let's talk about the table, because I all the
Yeah.
time on Twitter, right? People are like, well, what do women even
Ugh.
bring to the table? Let's talk first. What should the average good marriage minded man, what should he bring to the table, Talia?
I think it's a really good question. I want to say like a little bit of like humility and ability to take accountability, right? Those two come to mind, and openness, um, and patience. And I mean, of course, obviously, like yeah, every person, men and women, want to see you have your shit together. Like you like having or at least have a plan to have it together. Like if your life right now you're in a transition, maybe you're between jobs, maybe something happened and you're kind of in shambles, that's okay. You still bring something to the table, just show you have a plan, you know? So I think those that applies to everyone. And also what I said earlier applies to everyone. Like having again, taking accountability for your stuff, being open and receptive and patient.
Hmm. Safety,
Mhm.
peace, stability.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah,
both
those
people. That's what they're
yeah.
bringing. Do men bring anything, in your opinion? Do they bring anything specific to a relationship that a woman doesn't bring?
No, I don't think so. I get like I personally don't think so. I know that like masculine energy, feminine energy, like all that stuff, like you've talked about this, but I like to look at it a different way, just that especially now, like in 2025, women there is a wage gap still, but it's closing. The education, women are in college right now. They're getting more college degrees. So it's like what men used to provide in a relationship isn't as necessary anymore. And I think that the dating culture right now is grappling with this. And men are maybe having a little bit of identity crisis because like it's like, wait, I don't just have to get a good job and I get a wife. Like, no,
Issued by the company, by the way. Yeah.
yeah. Like, no, I think women are looking more for emotional safety than financial safety, even though it's still important. But like if I didn't get married, I'd be financially fine. Like that's not we women don't need men to survive financially anymore. We just don't. So in a lot of
Emotional safety,
cases.
though. You said
But
emotional
yes.
safety, which is interesting. So men should bring, maybe that's a thing that men bring primarily into the relationship component is emotional safety for a woman to feel safe.
Yeah, it's like give us space to be ourselves and but I also think men want that too. Men need that too. So it's like women need to bring that as well. Like why men can also be themselves in a relationship. It's like
Hmm.
that would be a beautiful, balance.
I think what I've from my perspective anyway,
Yeah.
is
No, I
it
know we
seems
don't
like
like fully align on this.
that's totally fine. That's totally fine. What I see is actually, to your point, I think is very similar. I think that men and women want pretty much the same things, and they need the same behaviors from each other. I think what it inspires for women is, as women call it, safety. Men
Mm,
men don't ever call it safety. Men don't
no,
don't really say, well, I want to feel, I want a woman that makes me feel so safe.
I
That's not
agree with that.
generally
Yeah, I
how it
agree. That's
happens.
not a word that they use. Yeah.
No, but they'll say peace. I want
Hmm.
peace in a relationship. But ultimately, I think they're the same thing, just from
Yeah.
a different biological perspective, just from a different
Agree.
needs-based perspective.
Yes.
There we go. There, see, we can
Yeah.
agree
No,
on
no,
that. We
yeah.
can agree.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I think the word my husband would use would be more of the in the peace
Hmm.
realm. We
Same behaviors,
both
though.
yeah, we both don't like conflict, and I think we both have to like work hard to address the conflict because we don't even want to talk about it. But we don't have a lot of it because we actively work on a relationship and we, practice a lot of principles where we're giving each other more positive attention than negative, and we have to actively do that. It doesn't just happen automatically, so they're in that you're creating the peace.
The secure, healthy attachment, transparency, direct communication, like you've talked about in here today, having those honest, straightforward conversations, very easy conflict that rolls straight into cooperation instead of veering off into confrontation. Having those easy discussions like that creates safety for women, creates peace for men. You talked
Right.
about humility, you talked about accountability, you talked about honesty and transparency. Both sides definitely need to be bringing that. Women will say, I want to feel safe. Men will say, I want to have peace. But I think ultimately it comes down to the same thing. A very masculine man and a very feminine woman. What's fascinating is that they have much the same impact. Wherever environment they walk into, people feel at ease, they feel comfortable, they feel safe, they feel like that person is going to care about them, listen with them, and be honest with them, and everybody feels at ease in their presence. So
Right. I mean,
that's
look,
that's the true
I
impact.
don't love the masculine and feminine like that like framework in dating because I think in the early dating stages it does overcomplicate things. But I'm not going to deny that my husband and I have these dynamics, and he is very masculine in a lot of ways. He leads our relationship. He's my rock. Like I don't. I will never understand this part of his brain, but all he wants is to like set me up to do whatever I want, and I love that. And it's like I don't know why there is a part of me that struggles to really be like, wow, like he just wants me to have my business. Like he doesn't want me to get a job. He literally has said that to me. He's like, I don't want you to get a job. I just want you to grow your business. Like,
You know what
I'll
the
be
best feeling in the
yeah.
world is for a man who really loves his family? And I'll tell you, it's taking your family out, your wife and your kids. You either cook them a giant meal or you take them out to a delicious meal. They all order whatever they want, and you just watch them eat and laugh and enjoy
Yeah.
their lives. It's knowing that you have provided the safety and the stability enough so that they can do whatever they want and enjoy and be together. It's an incredible feeling.
See, I don't
And
have that like I understand that logically, but I don't know what that feels like necessarily.
that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm okay with
You'll get there.
it.
When you have
Yeah.
as many kids as I do, you'll get there.
Yeah.
That'll get you there. You said something, one more interesting thing that I'd
Yeah.
love to dig into here
Yeah.
is you said that the masculine feminine seems to complicate the early stages of dating. I would
Yes.
love to hear your thoughts on that. Please share more.
So maybe not for everyone. Maybe for some people it really does help kind of make decisions and navigate dating. But for a lot of people who write to me, it's like, well, he's not being masculine because he asked me what I want to do on the date. And I'm like, girl, he just wants to make sure you're having fun. Like just because he didn't say 7 o'clock, we're going to this Italian place. I'll pick you up. Like that's not necessarily what a mask, like it's like a prescribed behavior that becomes that locks people into like looking for a very specific thing that isn't broad enough to understand, like, no, this person's watching out for you. He just wants to know what you want to do so you enjoy the time. Like, that's why it overcomplicates things. It's like, I don't know if he's really in his masculine because, he told me about a challenge he had at work and he was like expressing his feelings. And I'm like, he's just being a person. Let people just be people.
So it sounds like they're divorcing humanity from this creature in front of them that is supposed to make them feel certain things or fit a certain checklist.
Yes, it plays into the checklist dating, which makes it really hard to find someone. Like, it makes it harder than it already is. It's already so hard to
I hear
find
that.
someone.
It's
Yeah.
like a man showing up to a date and then going and telling his friends, well, I don't think she was in her feminine because she didn't have enough mascara on and her high heels, they weren't high enough. And she ordered a steak instead of fish. And I don't think she's in her feminine
Right.
enough, you guys.
It's like, it's like, here's a very specific idea of what a masculine man should look like, behave like, but maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe there's a little bit more wiggle room for that.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
do you respond to him? Do you feel safe in his presence? Does he bring humility and kindness to the date? Not niceness, but kindness.
Yeah.
Does he have a good conversation with you? Did he build the conversation with you and be able to ask you questions? Was he interested in you as a person? And was he asking you about that? Was he giving transparent information about himself? Did he have honest answers about his challenges and he's facing them head on? Did you admire him in some ways? His good character, his honesty, his courage in facing challenges in his life. Was he a wholesome human being that you could see yourself spending time with? That sounds like he
Right.
was probably a masculine man. If those things are
Yeah.
true, then yes, he was masculine.
Right.
Whether he's in a sleeveless biker vest, with a gun tucked into his belt, or he shows up dressed like a cowboy, or he happens to show up dressed in a nice, comfortable suit. He's a masculine man based on how he acts and how he helps you feel.
Right.
I love that. Let's
Yeah.
not overthink it. Let's not reduce each other to checklists, masculine or feminine. Let's not do that. Let's not play a game like that. That's stupid. I agree with that. 100%, Talia.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. I would love for everybody at home to hear more about you because I know that so many of them need dating advice. I work on relationship advice, single advice, dating, everything. A lot of them need dating help. A lot of them have listened to this podcast here today and they say, oh, girl, I need so much more from you. I need to hear your perspective. Help me date better to find my husband too. Tell them all about you, your socials, your wonderful podcast. Tell them everything so that they can find you.
Yes. So first of all, if you want to hear the podcast, I would start with Adam's episode on my podcast, which is called Dating Intentionally. It's on every platform, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. And you can find me on Instagram at dating.intentionally. I read most of my DMs. I try to answer as many as I can. So you can definitely slide into my DMs, hit me up. I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. And I will always keep it real with you.
Love it. Do you have any books, any courses, any websites, anything like that to steer people toward? Because they're hungry for
I
it.
have. Thank you. I have a 1-hour course on how to identify your needs, which is something that took me many years to learn. And I am very excited to help people, men and women, nail down their core needs in a relationship so that they can use that as their compass. Not external factors, not what your parents want, not what social media thinks you should want, what you need to thrive in a relationship. So that's my course, and that's available in my bio link on Instagram.
On Instagram. There we go. Go to Instagram, click that link, check out her course, How to Find Your Needs. I get that question a million times. How do I find my needs in a relationship? A lot of women don't even know how to do that.
Well, I'm trying to help them. So
I'm glad.
I got you.
All right, guys and ladies, she's here to help you. Make sure you check out her socials. Talia, thank you so much for being here today, and much love to you and your husband. I hope you guys have many happy babies together.
And happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody. We'll see you again soon.